Oh my, oh my. As you can tell from the sound of my voice, I've been fighting a little something all week. So I sound like a different person, but I'm still the same Trent. So I'm coming to you from the No Future Production Studios, aka my garage, on a very windy day here in the Inland Empire. Very windy. And I'm going to throw down my war podcast and go as strong as I can for about 20 minutes. I'm going to save some of my voice because I've got a recording later with my man George. We're going to do another episode of No Plan, No Problem. So check that out if the 20 minutes isn't enough. I think I'm going to have George carry me today. We'll see how it goes. But what do we want to talk about today? Well, it's war. Duh. Woo. Let's go. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm the Trent from the title of the show, even though I don't sound like it. I've got my green tea with a teaspoon of honey in it. Trying to be adult about it, you know, when you're just kind of trying to just coax your voice through it. You can do it, buddy. You can do it. I wanted to record Wednesday. Some life happened. I wasn't able to. And then I started feeling this on Wednesday afternoon, and ever since then I've been like, well, if it's not gone by Friday, I gotta go. So I'm going. I haven't talked about the war yet. If you listen to this podcast, I'm going to guess, go out on a limb, and say that you're probably anti-war. Most people aren't anti-war. If you use your head and think critically about the damage of modern warfare and the way it works, you should all be against war. War is bad. War is bad. It's doubly bad when you are the out of power party, even though you're no longer the minority. There's definitely more people that want us to go in a different direction now in the United States than people who are like cheering on this bullshit. It's difficult to be in the opposition party to a regime that is operating against the wishes of the majority when they're the aggressor on top of everything else. I mean, it would be one thing if we were attacked in some way, you know, even if it were another 9/11 style terrorist attack, that would be a different story. But what we have here is a war of choice. And just like the last time we bombed Iran, and I went on and on and on about how it was done without authorization, whether it was successful or not. It was done without authorization. It was done without consultation. It was done without a long-term vision. It was done without a long-term plan. It was done because the Israelis pushed us into it. They're basically Netanyahu and Trump are Thelma and Louise. And I hate to say that about Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon, who I love. They're like holding hands and driving that convertible off the cliff. You know, that's how they roll. They're in this shit together. And when Bibi drives him off the cliff, Trump is along for the ride because he doesn't have an original thought outside of, you know, it'd be great is to have a giant ballroom attached to the White House where I could siphon some more money out of people who visit. This war, just like that attack on Iran last year, I believe it was in May, which, according to our regime, totally obliterated the Iranians' nuclear capacity, which is weird because that's one of the reasons that they're saying we did it, to keep them from having a nuclear weapon, which if you totally obliterated their nuclear program back in May, they already reconstituted by February? Maybe you don't have the right dictionary, but that's not the definition of totally obliterated. Yeah. I mean, what? Unauthorized military activity is one of the things that Mad King Donnie has been all up in for the last year. He didn't do a ton of it during the first administration, he was operating under that old JCPOA, or no, not the JCPOA. That was the Iran deal. He was acting under that old authorization of military force for against the war on terror, the old war on terror force military thing. And keep in mind, during his first administration, we were still fighting in Afghanistan. I mean, seriously. Anyway, this time around, it doesn't matter. You know, if he wants to bomb some people in Nigeria, he's going to do it. If he wants to kidnap the Venezuelan president and launch a military strike to do that, then he's going to do it. And, you know, Congress be damned. Congress is so worthless now that they're no longer. What's the point of going to Congress anymore? What is the point of being a congressman? And some Republicans are starting to get sick of it. That's why you're seeing so many retirements. People are like, fuck it. It's not even worth it anymore. I don't get to be like cool and powerful anymore. I'm just a fucking lapdog for Trump. I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. Of course, I have things like integrity and ethics. So, I'm different than these dudes. But they've offered a lot of bullshit explanations as to why they're doing this. None of them add up. Many of them contradict each other. They continue to try and do everything they can to not say it's a war. Meanwhile, Mad King Donnie keeps calling it a war. Whiskey Pete Hegseth at the Department of War keeps calling it a war. Yeah, it's a war. It's a war that's costing us. I heard the estimate of $1 billion a day. It's not. It's probably like 6 times that. It's probably roughly $6 billion a day right now to conduct this war. We are using Patriot missiles that cost about $4 million a piece to shoot down $20,000 Iranian drones. So, yeah. What we should do is reach out to Volodymyr Zelensky and the Ukrainians who have been dealing with the exact same drones that the Iranians have been supplying to the Russians for the last 2 years. And they figured out how to take care of them on the cheap. And we should probably use some of their tactics because $4 million a pop to nail these drones is not sustainable. Patriot missiles are not supposed to be used for that. This is a war of choice being waged by morons. Now, the American military is a no-joke mass murder machine. Absolutely. They are not infallible. We've already had 6 service members killed in action, many more injured. We had 3 jets shot down over Kuwait by Kuwaitis. Kuwait. Anyway, Kuwait shot them down because they didn't have any identification didn't have any information about those jets flying into their airspace. And so they shot them down right away. Like, we didn't know who they were. We thought they were attacking us. So they shot them down. The pilots of all those, the crews of all those jets survived. They're all fine. But each one of those planes is $90 million. That's $270 million that was shot down, but with friendly fire. Because these people are not communicating with the other countries in the region, our allies in the region. And since the war broke out, since we started bombing Iran, Iran's retaliation isn't against the United States. They can't really reach us. They are shooting at our bases in the area, but they're just firing at all of the neighboring countries, attempting to bring everybody in. This is dumb. They were negotiating a week ago, today, right now, they were negotiating with the Iranians regarding a new Iran nuclear deal to replace the old JCPOA, the Joint Committee Political, I don't remember. The old Iran deal, the one that Trump tore up in his first administration because it was the worst deal ever, which made no sense because they didn't replace it with anything. At least when we had that nuclear deal in place, we could monitor them. We had access to their sites. Then we didn't have any. We didn't know what they were doing. The thing about making a deal with Donald Trump is it's not worth anything. You can't deal with someone who breaks every deal the instant that he feels it necessary, that he no longer feels like it's tilted in his favor enough. Enough, mind you. Like when they renegotiated NAFTA with Mexico and Canada and did the new U.S. Mexico-Canada trade agreement that Trump himself signed in his first administration, they tore up the old NAFTA agreement, did a brand new one, which was basically the exact same thing, that allowed him to put his name on it and say it was the greatest thing ever. Then he comes back in his second term. Ugh, it sucks. I can't believe I have to say that. And he tears up that deal that he signed saying it was the worst deal ever. And he starts throwing around tariffs. It was his deal. He said it was the greatest thing ever last time. So you can't trust him. You can't trust a deal with Donald Trump. You can't trust it. He's not trustworthy. And therefore, our country is no longer trustworthy. Our country isn't trustworthy when it comes to trade deals. Our country isn't trustworthy when it comes to peace talks. Our country isn't trustworthy when it comes to arms agreements or basically anything. We are no longer a realistic partner because we can't be trusted. Every time he tears up a deal, it shatters our reputation just a little bit more. I thought of all the things that would get... Hold on, time for a sip of tea. Oh, that's nice. I thought of all the things... Wow, my voice popped right back. Of all the things that would cause this Congress to wake up and assert their influence. A war that they didn't have any say in would be the thing. I was wrong. Again. I keep thinking that there's some place where the Republican Party will finally stand up and remember that this guy isn't eternal and that we do still have elections here. We had a big primary night on Tuesday, and it's a warning. It's a warning, Republicans. It's a warning. We are coming for you at the ballot box, and we are going to kick the holy living shit out of you. And did they take that warning and go, you know what we need to do? We need to start listening to the people. We need to start being the responsible democracy that we're supposed to be. Nope. They're going to continue to vote to allow Trump to do whatever he wants, which is fucking madness. And there's already talk, and keep in mind, we are now, today is day 7 of the war. But this actually started a couple days ago. Now they're going to come to Congress and ask for an additional spending package for the military for this war. Rumor has it it's going to be in the 50 billion range, which is okay. That, like I said, that's at $6 billion a day, $5-6 billion a day. That's like 10, 12 days worth of munitions and gas. And are we serious? This is really expensive. Like really super expensive. And even if it was just $50 billion, remember when the Democrats shut down the government last year over healthcare subsidies for the Affordable Care Act? The total bill on that was going to be $34 billion. Just saying. $34 billion to make sure that 2 million Americans don't lose their health insurance altogether, and then tens of millions more have their premiums skyrocket $34 billion was just beyond the pale, too much, unbelievable. We are never going to do that. But $50 billion to bomb the Middle East for an additional 10 or 12 days. Hell yeah, we're going to sign off on that. That's a signal, guys. That's the priority here. Look at what they spend money on. And look at what they refuse to spend money on. An additional $60 billion for immigrations and customs enforcement and border patrol. Border protection. I believe they changed it to protection. Customs and border protection. But how are they going to spend that money? They're buying warehouses to turn into concentration camps all over the country, and that's not going well, by the way. There's a whole lot of NIMBY going on in places where they weren't expecting a whole lot of NIMBY. Not in my backyard. You're not putting a concentration camp or a giant-ass prison in my backyard. With good reason. They've proved they can't fucking run these things. I'm going to talk about Kristi Noem right at the end. But this war that is going to go on for God only knows how long, we have no idea why it's happening. We have no idea how much it's going to cost. We have no idea when it's going to end. And we have no idea what the objectives are. Now, unsurprisingly, it's already not popular. It's very unpopular. It goes right along with everything else Donald Trump's doing. This is a moment. All right? This is a moment. And I hope the Democrats rise to it and say, we're not funding an illegal war. You can hedge your bets by saying, you bring us all of the information as to why you've done this and get authorization for this, and then we'll consider the funding for it. But until it's authorized, we are not funding an unauthorized war in the Middle East. And that should be a line in the sand that no one crosses. I mean, John Fetterman's going to cross it because, I don't know, something happened to that guy's brain when he had his stroke and he became a totally different person. And they're going to primary the bejesus out of him in Pennsylvania this year. And I don't think he's going to be returning to the Senate. Thank God. They should absolutely draw the line with funding an illegal war, a war of choice, a war of regime change that's not about regime change, but it caused regime change. But it really didn't cause regime change because the regime is still in power. Just the Ayatollah and his top people are gone, but all of the people underneath them are still there. And this fantasy that Donald Trump has that the Iranian people are going to stand up and overthrow what's left of the government is cuckoo birds. Like they're saying that it's like they did in Syria. Well, that took years and years in Syria. The people who overthrew the Assad government in Syria are a former branch of ISIS. So I don't know how trustworthy these people are. Are they better than Assad? So far, yes, but when it's that's a low bar. And there's a big difference between Syria and Iran. Syria is like the size of Connecticut. Has like 6-7 million people in it. Maybe more. Iran is roughly the size of Nevada. And has 92 million people in it. And the Republican Guard, which is their like elite military, and all of the other Iranian forces associated with them, number somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million troops. It's one of the largest standing armies on the planet. Plus, they have terrorist proxies everywhere that we've heard of. Hamas, the Houthis. There's a lot of super dangerous factions that are aligned with the Republican Guard and Iran. Iran is the largest state sponsor of terror. So do you expect them to not launch terror attacks in retaliation? Well, it's a good thing that we have Homeland Security buttoned down. So, regime change in Iran is not going to be as easy as you think. The Assad family, that was just like this weird dictatorship. This regime in Iran that's been in power since Ayatollah Khomeini back in 79, I think it was. It's been in power for almost 50 years, and they are theologically, basically it's a bunch of clerics using religion to bind their country together. It's some pretty extremist Islamists. It's basically like putting a bunch of Christian nationalists in charge in the United States. Oh, fuck. Wow. That would probably be a bad idea, wouldn't it? It's not going to be as easy as they think. And they think it's going to be super easy. What has this administration done well? The answer is fuck nothing. They're absolutely fucking nothing. They don't do anything well. Nothing at all. So to expect them to run a war, well, get the fuck out of here. But like I said, at least we have the Department of Homeland Security under control and focused and on point. And speaking of that, yesterday Donald Trump announced that Kristi Noem would be leaving Department of Homeland Security for a new position as a special envoy to the American Shield, which is, I think that's what it is, which is not something from Marvel Comics that's run by Nick Fury. It is a made-up thing that they're going to announce tomorrow. So there's a new, guess what, everybody? We're getting a new part of government. The small government people are creating something new, which I'm sure is going to be fully funded. And she's leaving Department of Homeland Security. Well, I mean, let's be honest. All they could focus on was mass deportation. That's all they've got. That's all they're focused on. That's all they're doing. They've enlisted federal agents from across the board, from Customs Border Protection to ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, to the FBI. Approximately 1/3 of all FBI agents have been focused on immigration service. Seriously? Yeah. They've roped in all kinds of agents from across the federal government. And a whole bunch of people will quit. And a whole bunch of people were offered early retirement. And that happened too. All told, the federal workforce is still down a whole lot of people from what Elon Musk and Doge did. So do you expect them to be able to properly protect us? Especially with idiots like Kristi Noem in charge. Well, we removed her and we're going to replace her with former MMA fighter and owner of a plumbing business, Mark Wayne, 2 first names Mullen, Senator of Oklahoma. If it weren't for Tommy Tuberville, Mark Wayne Mullen would be the stupidest member of the Senate. Like, and not really close. Those two are leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. And there are some real dullards in the U.S. Senate. Mark Wayne is a Trump apologist. All he does is explain how Donald Trump never does anything wrong, which is what makes him perfect for this job in the eyes of Donald Trump. He will do the same thing that Noem did. He might be more competent at it, but I would not hold my breath. I don't think much of anything will change. We'll just get a different version of fucking stupid. And the homeland will continue to be not spectacularly secure. I don't expect much to change between now and the midterms. There's still pressure on the Epstein files thing. I think it's hilarious that the name of the Iran war operation is Operation Epic Fury. Might as well call it Operation Epstein Files. Fucking hilarious. Seriously, the dumbest fucking people are in charge of this country right now. It's so gross. Sorry, I had to step away for a second, get a big swig of this tea because I'm starting to fade a bit. I just urge everyone to be hopeful and vigilant because this is our job right now. There's a whole lot we can do. Pay attention. Warn our neighbors when ICE is in the region. Carry your whistle. Share Trent with a friend. I'm a share size. That's my new. I love share size. I did want to talk about one more thing before I bailed. So before I say my bye-byes, I want to say that this administration, I mean, literally, the most shoot yourself in the foot group of people ever. It's just ever. They can't not do wildly unpopular stuff. And at the head of that this week, that's not true. I mean, the war is wildly unpopular. But here's the new one. People pay attention to certain things and don't pay attention to other things. And, people don't want to pay attention to politics. Politics sucks. It fucking sucks. I hate talking about this all the time because these fucking idiots don't know what they're doing. The latest fuckery is going to piss off way more people in this country than almost anything else they've done. Because the director of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's, snorted cocaine off a toilet seat by his own admission, used to do drugs. He's a ketamine addict to this day. He works out in jeans. That's a warning sign, people. Motherfucker works out in jeans. Shit ain't right. Something upstairs not functioning properly. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has a brain worm and paralysis of his vocal cords and eats dead things, roadkill, raw milk. That guy has decided he wants to take on sugary coffees. So he's taken on Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks and challenging them to prove that their sugary coffee drinks are good for children at their 115 grams of sugar. Well. Oh my goodness. You can imagine that this is not going over well. As news of this trickles out, people's ears perk up when you hear they want to take away menu items from Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. This is the kind of freedom that people voted for. I'm not so sure. I find it weird that the party of freedom is hell bent on taking away all of the choices that we have, from choices on the ballot to choices in your drink, to what you can and can't do with your body. I mean, really? This is a thing that's happening in my lifetime. And I never imagined this. But it's here, and we have to deal with it, whether we like it or not. So, stay vigilant, pay attention, check your voter registration. Mine is perfect. I just got the written verification yesterday. Ha-cha-cha! We are ready to roll. And I'm about to get my California primary ballot in the mail, which is good because I don't know which ones of these 800 people running for governor. There's also this weird thing that might happen in California. We have a jungle primary here, so that all of the people running for a specific office, be it a House seat or U.S. Senate or governor, all of them go in the same primary. And the top 2 vote getters, regardless of party, go on to the general election. So there's 2 Republicans really running in this governor's race here, and like 12 Democrats. And there's a possibility that the Democrats fracture the vote so much that Republicans finish 1 and 2 and guarantee that California will have a Republican governor because we have too many people running for governor under the Democratic side. So, fuck. That's some seriously fucked up shit. So many people are so desperate to grab hold of that power. To be governor, like Kamala Harris couldn't have run for governor. Oh man, wind blew my door open. No, she couldn't do it. So now God only knows what's going to happen. I'm going to take off and get myself ready for my next recording with my friend George. So if you want to catch me later on, No Plan, No Problem, available wherever you got this, with the exception of YouTube. I don't have No Plan, No Problem on YouTube, but I do have this on YouTube. So it's an audio only. So there's no like video feed of me standing there like yelling into the microphone. That's something that I might add later at some point. I don't know. I don't know if I'm technologically advanced enough to make that happen. Maybe I'll use AI for it. That's a joke. I would never. I don't do that. But hopefully you all got your whistles. Hopefully you're all wearing your whistles. I'm wearing mine every day. I get comments about it from time to time. I have extra whistles on my person if somebody wants one. Just a couple. But that's that. And share me with a friend. And I'll be back before you know it, probably. Well, with No Plan, No Problem, I'll be back in a few hours. But I'll be back early next week. And we'll keep kicking ass and taking names. Until then, I'm super appreciative of all of you for being with me on this journey. Thank you. Be good humans, people, okay? It's the least we can do. Until next week, love you.